According to BJPin.com and Twitter, Conor McGregor threatens to beat up celebrities. Conor McGregor's tweets, he says, "I've decided to challenge Hollywood actress Mark Wahlberg. Next, a fight for all the shares." TMZ picks this story up and comments, "Conan O'Brien to Conor McGregor, fight me for my UFC shares." Conor McGregor responds to TMZ and says, "Challenge accepted, Conan. I'll whoop you and Wahlberg in the same night. Double shares for the double champ." On a recent episode of UFC Unfiltered, Matt Sera goes off on Brock Lesnar retiring from UFC.
Are you going to mention Brock retiring? Sorry, go ahead. You give it.
Oh, sure.
Is there anything worse than when someone cock blocks?
That was rough. Is that what you just did?
I was joking.
Is he retiring?
He is. Dana said to ESPN that Brock told him he's done, that he's retired. And now this is not official by the UFC, but this is reported by Dana and ESPN that DC and Stipe have verbally committed to fighting each other.
All right, let's address one at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, just Brock, I can't wait about the second one. I'm so excited. But about Brock retiring, yes, he's a big, huge draw. Did he get popped for steroids?
Yeah, I believe he did.
But was it legit?
I don't know. Against Mark Hunt, what was it?
That was a legit. That wasn't like a supplement or anything. That was a legit suspension.
I'm happy he's gone. And he should have never been able to fight again anyway. How about that? For the people out there saying, "Oh, you pick on TJ. Why don't you say it's a John Jones?" No, listen, the guy's not cold busted. I mean, that's a debate.
Yeah.
That's a debate.
Sure.
This is not. If Brock got popped, that's why I remember when Mark Hunt was like, I don't blame Mark Hunt.
He was
Mark
furious.
Hunt, I don't blame him for being as upset as he was. As another tough, chubby guy, I am with you, Mark Hunt. I am with you.
Yep.
I don't like that shit with Brock Lesnar, man. I'm glad he's not fucking coming back.
I'll be honest.
I don't give a fuck. Fuck him.
I would much rather see Stipe and DC, just because I like Stipe so much.
Hold on.
You want to see
Jimmy. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I don't mean to cut you off because I'm getting annoyed. Brock Lesnar's a beast.
Yeah.
A beast. He can hurt. You don't think he can hurt somebody without steroids?
Absolutely.
You know what he could do to somebody? He could end somebody's life.
Yeah.
How dare him? And how dare everybody not make a big deal about it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. I just wanted to.
I agree with you. I'm
know.
very happy.
Why do we pick and choose on who should be fucking have that scarlet letter on him?
Yeah. Hey, I was never caring if he came back or not. I mean, look, I watch him when he fights. Sure, it's always he's such a big dude, and he did beat people again for whatever reason. But I would watch him, but I would much rather see DC fight Stipe or JDS or fucking Curtis Blades or Ngannou, anybody.
Well, first of all, I'm happy as heck.
Oh, language.
Well, sometimes I got to go there. that Stipe is back, man. I miss Stipe.
And it proves he was smart to wait, too, because they might have said, look, Brock might not clear, or Brock might, and you're not. And so I'm happy for Stipe, too.
I mean, and just to make me like him more, he did like a gi match the other day for charity.
Yeah.
How'd he do?
He didn't get beat up or anything. He just lost on like a decision or something. That's like a judge's decision, but it wasn't. The guy's nobody did it to him. But that's that dude. Look at that. He puts the gi on, does that for
sure.
He'd be a lot tougher with the gi off, I'm sure.
What belt is he in jiu-jitsu?
I'm not sure, but he's an awesome human being, just like the champ is, just
and a
like
fireman.
DC, and a fireman. No, he's a hero.
He's a man's man.
Listen, I was going to say, and you're right, credit to DC, because he said all along, if Brock's not there, it is Stipe that'll fight, and he wasted no time.
Immediately.
And not to contradict myself, because in the past I was happy about the DC and Brock fight. I forgot about the whole steroid thing, but I did. I'm like, wait, did he do the steroids? I forget until somebody brings it up. But I was kind of just, what overshadowed that was more of the fact that I was kind of happy for DC, because I wanted him to get a payday, and I know he beat up Brock Lesnar. Brock's kind of like a bully. Like, if he doesn't get beat up the guy, he's fucking.
Brock's dangerous on the ground, though.
No, look, Brock, first of all,
very dangerous on the ground.
Wait, listen. Me saying the guy's a cheater and everything, he's not saying the guy's not dangerous.
Yeah.
The guy's an absolute beast.
Right.
His hand's the size of Pete Dragosel's head. That's big. By the way, it's big. He's got a big head.
Yeah.
But
if he said a small guy, it wouldn't be very effective.
No, if I said his hand's the size of Jimmy's little bird head.
He'd be like, oh, come on, those adorable little hands. I do have a little bird head.
Bird.
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry.
That's a compliment.
But
Birds are marvelous creatures.
Listen, but so no, but he's so dangerous, and then you have to cheat.
Yeah.
You know, you're not hitting somebody with a fucking folding chair doing some bullshit. I mean, this is real, man. You're putting your elbow into somebody's face. And you're gonna make yourself. You're already like a giant of it. Like probably have giant's blood in you from fucking Game of Thrones. Yes. Why would you do something to make you stronger to cave somebody's fucking face in?
Now,
I don't know.
It's
so wrong.
I agree with you. The opening fight of this card. Now, do we have Cub Swanson's fighting Shane Burgos?
Give me Shane Burgos. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay.
No,
you want his record? Shane Burgos.
Burgos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you give us his record, please, Shane Burgos?
Yeah, I'm double checking.
Last fight,
I think
he
he's
lost
11.
one.
I think he's 11-1. Shane Burgos. Yeah, he got knocked out by Calvin Cater.
Calvin Cater's tough.
Very tough. And but that's it. Otherwise, he's.
Don't be sorry.
Hold on, guys.
You enjoy a puff. Give Daddy a puff. Daddy's gonna have a puff. That's all I want.
Oh my God!
So sad to watch.
We're good. Sorry, everybody. Go ahead. Back to business.
Shane Burgos is 11-1. Only lost to Calvin Cater. Otherwise, he is 5-1 in the UFC.
He's been around.
And Cub's on a 3-fight losing streak. But I always think a guy like Cub is always dangerous. But when you catch a guy as good as he is, who's had as many fights as Cub, who's a veteran, 35 fights, that's a fucking dangerous guy. No, like I think Ross Pearson lost 4 straight. It can happen.
Hold on now, guys. I want to hear about Shane Burgos' record and his last fight.
No. I just said it.
No? You can cut it up if you want.
All right. He's 11-1.
First of all, fuckers, don't tell me no, asshole. You're the fucking producer. If I want to fucking hear, I'm sorry. I know, but you know what happened though? I went somewhere in my head.
I know you went.
Where'd you go?
Your puffs.
Where'd you go?
I went into like I was running through a field of fucking cheese puffs, and I was eating them when I was running like this in my head. That's how good those puffs were, Jimmy. And then when I came back, I heard him going in and burgers, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and he sounded like a Charlie Brown cartoon.
The teacher, yes.
All right, let's get back to it now, guys.
Shane Burgos 11-1.
No, he did lose.
Who did he lose to?
Well, Calvin Cater.
Oh yeah.
And I was saying that, again, 12 fights.
We're gonna cut this up so that never happens.
Yeah,
the last
yeah.
The last
I don't know
3
about
minutes.
that.
No.
Oh, it's
last
coming
3
through.
minutes. Because I just said how tough Calvin Cater is. Then we said who he lost to,
and we keep referencing these Cheetos. We have to leave the whole thing unedited, I think. And then when you were off, basically, Matt was in a fucking a Cheeto daze.
I was in a
and then he came back.
You see what happened?
And Chris, and Chris was like, I just said that. And Matt's like,
and then I go, can you say it again? He goes, no, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to see if you would be able to, like, I know you heard it, but you were just more
It was there. It went in, yeah.
It looks like Walt Harris is fighting somebody mysterious.
Yes, he is fighting Sergey Spivak.
Yep.
Why'd I say that, Jimmy?
Why did you say what?
That he's mysterious.
Well, these are new
Because
guys.
there's no picture of him. And there's
That's
also
what I'm saying. I can't see him. It's like he's fighting like somebody in the shadow.
Andrew Sanchez against Marc-Andre Barrio. I mean, I don't know who wins that fight. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
How long ago was
Who's
that
from
Calvin
Canada?
Cater fight? That was his last fight?
No, his last fight was a armbar submission over Kurt Hullabaugh in November 3rd. Before the loss to Calvin Cater was January 20th, 2018. So
I'm sorry. I apologize.
No, go ahead.
Let's say Marc-Andre Barrio. Let's start going over these. I don't know why am I pushing for picks when the last week was such a disaster.
And how old is that kid though? It was a fucking bloodbath. Not really. I suck too.
Who
but with Shane. What
Shane's 28.
Oh, so you're still on that? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I want to know.
Everyone wants to comment on the Brock Lesnar retiring situation. So Ariel Helwani from the Ariel Helwani MMA show comments on Brock Lesnar's situation in a skeptical way.
To Brock Lesnar here because last night we reported over at ESPN that for all intents and purposes the dream of him fighting Daniel Cormier anytime soon is dead, and they're moving in the direction of Stipe Miocic versus Daniel Cormier. As of right this moment, that fight is not signed. It's not a done deal, but that's what they want for August 17th in Anaheim, California. UFC President Dana White telling our own Brett Okamoto that Brock has retired. I'm a bit of a skeptic. I'm a cynic when it comes to Brock Lesnar because we have been down this road with him before. He himself was on ESPN a few years ago talking to Michelle Beadle and saying that he retired from MMA, and then, he came back a couple of years later and fought Mark Hunt at UFC 200. And so he is a a lifelong worker, if you will, and I never really believe anything when it comes to Brock Lesnar because he is the greatest negotiator of all time, and he knows how to use leverage here and there, whether it's on the WWE side or UFC side. And so what I do believe is the fight isn't in the works anymore. There was an offer on the table, and he's choosing not to go down that path. I don't necessarily believe that this is it for him if we're just going to take Dana at his word. What I want to ask you is, a lot of people are coming up and saying, oh, it's got to be USADA. It's got to be USADA. Based on what you know, does this have anything to do with USADA?
Not as far as I know, and that doesn't mean that it doesn't, because Brock Lesnar was tested very recently by USADA. I do know that. It did update on their online database, which is public for anyone to see on their website. So he was tested not too long ago, a few weeks ago, I believe. I don't know. Obviously, the policy now, which started last summer, is that the UFC and USADA does not announce any kind of positive drug test, any kind of potential anti-doping policy violation until the completion of their investigation, the adjudication process, until the whole thing is done. So there have been cases recently where people were suspended provisionally and we didn't know it, like Nico Montano and Marvin Vittori. There was no announcement about those provisional suspensions. Paulo Costa, another one. We didn't know. We didn't know that USADA was investigating that situation with Costa. They don't announce it. So is it a possibility? I would say, yeah, it's a possibility. Personally, I don't think so. I personally believe that, and we will find out eventually if that's true or not. But I mean, this is just the kind of the pattern that Brock Lesnar has always followed, right? He has an opportunity with the UFC, and he uses that to probably get a big fat paycheck from Vince McMahon and WWE, and that's probably what happened. I believe this morning WWE announced that Brock Lesnar will be doing their show in Saudi Arabia next month, and I'm sure he's making a very, very large sum of money to do that show.
Tyron Woodley is a character. On a recent episode of the Hollywood Beatdown on TMC Sports, Tyron Woodley comments on Brock Lesnar retiring from the UFC and says roughly, was he even fighting? And on top of that, threatens to beat the brakes off of him. In a fight, of course, a UFC fight, of course. And accuses him of steroid use. So let's listen in.
Superstar Tyron Woodley, gearing up to beat up Robbie Lawler in a couple of months here. How you feeling?
Had some almond joy stuck in my teeth. He was giving me
So
junk
you're on
food.
the
Robbie told him to give me junk food.
You're on the pre-fight diet.
They got a big bowl of it right in front when I walk in.
Physical condition.
Trying to mess me up.
Anyway,
I'm feeling good, my man. How about you?
I feel good. I'm not getting ready for a fist fight though. You are.
I'm just getting ready to move my head out the way and punch.
Yeah. Speaking of UFC, we got some big news today. Let's get you fired up. Big news. Brock Lesnar is retired.
For what?
From MMA fighting. He's not going to fight anymore.
Was he even
He
fighting?
fought in 2016. He fought Mark Hunt and won, but he was disqualified because, he was...
So
just hot,
basically,
like
he
you
hasn't
say.
fought in 3 years, and we supposed to thought he was active.
Yeah, but in July 2018, he stormed the cage when Daniel Cormier beat
That
Stipe,
little shove in there,
shoved
boom.
him, and he started the unofficial promotional campaign to fight Daniel Cormier in a super fight, right?
Yeah.
Dana White has talked about how he wanted that fight to happen. Daniel Cormier has talked about how he wanted that fight to happen. It seemed like they were trying to make it for a UFC fight week in July. But now, out of nowhere, Dana White says he spoke with Brock. Brock is retired, doesn't want to fight MMA anymore. And Daniel Cormier, it seems to be making the fight with Stipe instead. Here's what we've learned, though, right? That before Brock announced his retirement, he was in the USADA testing pool. We knew that. He was in the pool since July 2018. Since then, he's been tested 9 times. All the way up until just a couple weeks before he announced his retirement. It smells fishy to me.
Let me regurgitate all that. What I'm saying is that if he's been tested that many times, we should have heard of some positive results if it had been. What a lot of fans, a lot of people in the general public do not know, if we are tested by USADA and we test positive for any banned substance, they will report that shit ASAP. Before you get a call, before your managers get a call, you will go on the internet, and that will be the way you find out that one of your samples came back hot.
But can it take a couple of weeks to process?
It's a $40 fee to expedite the test.
Right.
If you are a multi-billion-dollar company, and you're testing someone of the stature of Brock Lesnar that's going to generate that type of money, and he's been known to test positive, I think you pay the $40, right?
Sure, I would.
Yeah.
So you don't think there's a positive test?
I think that it was
somewhere?
fishy when he miraculously did not get his test expedited for $40.
Sure.
He
So
was
what do you
so-
think happened then?
But he was able to fight, right?
Yeah.
And then John Jones was not able to fight because
Right.
his results came.
Right.
And then Brock's came after the fight had happened.
Right.
Like
But
I
do you
said.
think he did or no?
Brock Lesnar?
This time around, do you think that he was
I don't
using
think he
PEDs?
ever has not. I think he's been on this since third grade.
So why do you think he's retiring now? Why would he retire?
Sometimes it
close to getting
sounds
a deal
better
done?
to retire on your own terms than somebody say, okay, though you have not fought since 2016, now you got to add another 2 years because you pop hot.
But he could have made an easy $10 million here, right? And Cormier isn't known as one of the most ferocious strikers in the UFC. He's more of a grappling guy, right?
I mean, he probably would knock out Brock, though.
Maybe.
Brock is big, but if you hit him a couple times, he'll fold up on you.
Sure, but isn't
Sorry,
that
Brock,
like...
don't try to beat me up if you see me. But you did do that one time.
Did he try to fight you?
I'm just saying, I'm probably going to see him because I'm going to Minnesota.
Yeah, that's his home turf.
Damn. He probably going to be there. Damn.
You
I
gonna
got to
fight
deal
Brock
with Brock. Tyrone Woodley versus Brock Lesnar.
I watched that fight.
At the Mall of America
Would you
in
fight-
Minneapolis,
would you-
Minnesota.
Would you fight a juiced up Brock Lesnar?
Hell yeah. I'll beat Brock ass.
On a recent episode of UFC Unfiltered, Jeff Novitzky states John Jones loves USADA.
For a couple months when they really weren't.
Do you think the amount of testing Jones? I mean, we all know Jones going to have to face quite a bit of testing. Do you think it's warranted? I mean, the fact they're saying it could be up to 4 times a month. I mean, is that just kind of like, hey, the price you pay, or do you think it's a bit of overkill?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you what his position on it. He likes it. I mean, all the stuff that's happened to him. I've had many conversations with him. He goes, Jeff, I realize like as much of a pain in the ass this is a good thing for me. The more data that I can get out there about what's going on, the better for me. So, very unique instance where you have this very long-term metabolite. He's not the only one, by the way, this is happening to. But the more testing data is going to be good, not only for him, but really for all athletes, even outside of the UFC going forward. As they study this long-term metabolite.
And did the picograms, that kind of shows that there's a bit of a gray area sometimes too, and it's not as cut and dry as people think it is.
It's crazy. The level of a picogram is 1/trillionth of a gram. So per milliliter of a urine, 1/trillionth of a gram of this could be in 1 milliliter. I mean, it's really incomprehensible about how small, and that level, that sensitivity level of detection is just absolutely crazy. And I think that, and I think it's happening that anti-doping, that science now, the pendulum potentially is going a little bit too far, where when you're talking picogram quantities, does science really even know that, hey, it's not an environmental contamination that you're picking up from
Right.
food or plants or something? They really need to have a good understanding of things when you're talking in that picogram amount, because I think it's just as bad, of letting intentional cheaters get away with things. On the other side of things, treating an athlete unfairly or sanctioning them unfairly. So, I mean, that's a big part of my job, is eyes and ears for our athletes to make sure that this is as fair as a program that can be, put forth, and there's as much due process, another fancy law enforcement term there,
Absolutely.
but as much due process as possible for our athletes.
Jeff.
If you have not already, hit that subscribe button with its notification bell and leave a comment in the comment box below of what you thought of the video, and tune in for more on MMA News Outlet.